What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Lane's Man Cave. In today's video, I'm going to be giving out my 2024 NFL predictions. Let's go. We are going to start things off with the AFC East, and in last place, I got the New York Jets. The Aaron Rodgers era in New York was a complete bust. Things took a turn for the worst after firing Robert Saleh, and Jeff Ulbrich took over as interim head coach. Now they have Justin Fields as their quarterback, and are hoping he makes a late career resurgence like Geno Smith or Baker Mayfield, which I don't see happening. While he can make plays with his legs, he has 4 years of NFL experience and his pocket awareness is non-existent. The Jets will definitely be one of the more run-heavy teams this year, with Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and Fields, since the wide receiver room is carried by Garrett Wilson. John Simpson, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Joe Tippmann give the Jets one of the best interior offensive lines in the NFL, and I'm expecting a breakout year from second-year tackle Olu Fashanu. If right tackle Armand Membu has a good rookie season, this overall unit could be elite. The defense shouldn't be half as bad as it was last year under new head coach Aaron Glenn. They still have Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, who both had down years, but are still among the best at their respective positions. Quincy Williams and Jamian Sherwood form one of the better linebacker tandems in the NFL. The Jets should have a good defense, but I don't have much hope for their offense. The record prediction, 6-11. Number 3, the Miami Dolphins. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins blew it up at the trade deadline, because right now, it is not looking good. Tua Tagovailoa played one full season in his 5-year career, and has one serious injury from early retirement. It doesn't help that the Dolphins are projected to have one of the worst offensive lines in football, with second-year tackle Patrick Paul taking over for Teron Armstead at left tackle. James Daniels should help the interior, but he is coming off a torn Achilles. The Dolphins have a good backfield with Devon Achane and Jalen Wright, and still have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle as receivers. Then there's the defense. Jalen Phillips tore his ACL and Achilles in back-to-back years, and Bradley Chubb tore his ACL and missed all of last season. The secondary is completely dilapidated. Minkah Fitzpatrick was brought back in the Jalen Ramsey trade, but hasn't been an all-pro caliber player in 2 years. And with Kader Kohou out for the season, the Dolphins have a starting cornerback unit of Storm Duck, Kendall Sheffield, and Mike Hilton in the slot. Defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver could make this defense salvageable, but the Dolphins are one wrong move away from a disaster. My record prediction, 7-10. Number 2, the New England Patriots. The Pats didn't have the offseason I expected with the amount of cap space they had in free agency. The offensive line was terrible last year, and they added Morgan Moses at right tackle, who is 34 years old and missed some time due to injuries, and Garrett Bradbury, who is among the worst starting centers in the NFL. But Will Campbell has looked real good in the preseason, so there is still hope. Stephon Diggs and Mac Hollins were added to the receiving room, but Diggs is coming off an ACL tear and will most likely not be the same receiver, which means we could see progression from younger receivers like Demario Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, or rookie Kyle Williams. Another preseason stud we saw is rookie running back Travion Henderson, who has shown flashes of home run ability. Quarterback Drake May was really good in his rookie season, and it's safe to say they have their QB of the future. The Pats defense added upgrades at all 3 levels. Super Bowl hero Milton Williams will join a fully healthy Christian Barmore in the trenches. Edge rusher Harold Landry reunites with Mike Vrabel, and Carlton Davis joins the secondary. Christian Gonzalez was a top 5 corner in the NFL last year and will get even better under Vrabel. My record prediction, 7-10. And winning the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills. I expect the Bills to dog walk the rest of the AFC East. Even though they lost a bunch of quality players on both sides of the ball and had injuries on defense, it does not matter. Sean McDermott and defensive coordinator Bobby Babich keep finding ways to keep this unit playing at an above-average level, and as long as Josh Allen is on the team, the Bills will be a contender. James Cook is in the prime of his career and was a co-leader in rushing touchdowns last season. They still have Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, and Khalil Shakir as pass catchers. Second-year wideout Keon Coleman will have a breakout year, and the receiver room added Josh Palmer. And the offensive line is one of the better units in football, and could get even better if right guard Osiris Torrance takes a step forward in year 3. But the best part of all, they managed to retain offensive coordinator Joe Brady, who many teams considered hiring as head coach. The Bills don't have any true stars on the defensive line, but they have a lot of depth. Greg Russo could have double-digit sacks this season. Joey Bosa was a boomer-bust signing, but this could go over very well. Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones have been reliable on the inside, not to mention A.J. Epineza, rookies T.J. Sanders, Landon Jackson, and Deion Walker, and when they come back from suspension, Larry Ogunjobi and Michael Hoyt all in the rotation. Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard form an elite linebacker unit. The safeties aren't the best on this team, but cornerback Christian Benford had an excellent year, and Teron Johnson is among the best nickels in football. Rookie Maxwell Hairston will miss time, but I can't lie. He is not that great and would not have gone in the first round if he didn't run a 4.28. Nonetheless, there is too much to be excited for Bills Mafia going into this year. My record prediction, 14-3. The AFC North. In last place, the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco officially won the starting quarterback job for Week 1, but it didn't matter who would be QB1 this year, because the Browns had one of the worst offenses last season and did very little to improve it. Rookie running back Quinshon Judkins was projected to have a big role in the rushing attack, but may not even play this year due to his recent arrest, leaving the Browns with a running back tandem of Jerome Ford and rookie Dylan Sampson. Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller were once an elite guard duo, but have both declined. Their only starting offensive lineman under the age of 30 is left tackle DeJuan Jones, who has been bad. If Jones doesn't show improvement in year 3, the Browns' O-line will be among the worst in football. Jerry Jeudy had a career year, but may not repeat that production with the Browns' unstable quarterback play, and David Njoku has dealt with injuries. Having Cedric Tillman and Jamari Thrash as your wide receiver 2 and 3 does not move the needle. The defensive line is by far the Browns' best unit. They kept Myles Garrett and drafted Mason Graham, who will benefit from playing beside Garrett. The Browns will not have linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah this season, placing more weight on the shoulders of second-round rookie Carson Schlesinger, and Denzel Ward is still one of the best cornerbacks. But unfortunately, it doesn't matter how good the Browns' defense is. It will get worn down late in games because of how bad the offense is. My record prediction, 3-14. Number 3, the Cincinnati Bengals. It doesn't look like Trey Hendrickson will step onto the field this year, but even if he did, the Bengals have arguably the worst defense in the NFL. Rookie edge rusher Shamar Stewart had a monster combine, but has a long way to go from reaching his ceiling. Logan Wilson had a great year, but still has room for improvement. Rookie Demetrius Knight or Barrett Carter will fill in for Jermaine Pratt, and the Bengals secondary was one of the worst units in the NFL last year, but improvement from Dax Hill and DJ Turner should turn this group around. The Bengals offense will continue to outscore opponents. Joe Burrow had a great year, despite not having support from the O-line or defense. Jamar Chase won the Triple Crown, and the Bengals returned T. Higgins as their wide receiver 2. They still don't have a good running back room, and will need to see an improvement from Chase Brown. The Bengals signed guard Lucas Patrick and drafted Dylan Fairchild to beef up the interior offensive line, but they still have Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle, who is simply not a good football player. Right tackle Amarius Mims is still developing, but a breakout in year 2 could save this unit. My record prediction, 8-9. Number 2, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers had a busy offseason, signing Aaron Rodgers, trading for DK Metcalf, trading George Pickens, and swapping Minkah Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. Rodgers' time in New York was nothing short of a disaster, but if you watched any Jets games last year, you'd know he's not entirely at fault. He still has some good football left in him, and most importantly, he's the best quarterback to wear a Steelers uniform since Big Ben retired. The Steelers have a free-man rotation at running back with Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, and rookie Caleb Johnson, and with Pickens gone, we should see more out of second-year wideout Roman Wilson. The Steelers' offensive line is one of the youngest in the NFL, with 3 starters entering their second year and Broderick Jones entering his third. Center Zach Frazier has already proven himself in the NFL. Right tackle Troy Fautanu was okay, but Jones and Mason McCormick need improvement. The defense will be good. It's never good to lose a guy like Minkah, but their secondary will be fine. They still have Joey Porter Jr., they signed Darius Slay, who is older, but still has stuff left in the tank. And according to the depth chart, Jalen Ramsey will be playing in the slot this year, which will be interesting to see. And of course, the front seven will be great. TJ Watt is still one of the best edge rushers in football. Alex Highsmith will be healthy. Rookie Derek Harmon will be a boost up front. And linebacker Peyton Wilson had a solid rookie season. Even if Rodgers doesn't play at 100%, this team made the playoffs with worse quarterbacks and worse teams in the past. My record prediction, 11-6. And winning the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens. Despite not winning MVP, Lamar Jackson is coming off the best season of his career, and Derrick Henry ran for 1,900 yards on nearly 6 yards per carry, and shows no signs of slowing down. Zay Flowers had a really good year, and while he missed the postseason due to a knee injury, it did not require surgery. Mark Andrews' season missed with a dropped 2-point conversion, but he is still one of the best tight ends when healthy, and Isaiah Likely had a few games himself where he outperformed Andrews. The offensive line exceeded expectations last year. Ronnie Stanley is not the player he once was, but Tyler Linderbaum is one of the best centers in the NFL, though the other three starters could be a problem. On defense, the Ravens secondary is the best in football. They signed Jair Alexander, who hasn't been healthy but is still a great player, and drafted safety Malachi Starks. Kyle Hamilton is the best safety in the NFL. Marlon Humphrey is elite in the slot, and second-year corner Nate Wiggins is a guy I think will have a breakout year. The defensive line will be solid with Nnamdi Madubuike and Travis Jones. Roquan Smith has been one of the best linebackers in football since he was drafted, but Trenton Simpson was disappointing in his first year as a starter. The only concern about the Ravens' defense is their pass rush, led by 34-year-old Kyle Van Noy and Odafe Owe, who is improving, but hasn't been what the Ravens were hoping for at this stage in his career. My record prediction, 13-4. The AFC South. In last place, the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward gives the Titans hope for their future, but he does possess some of the same bad qualities as Will Levis, such as hero ball decision-making, accuracy concerns, and overall recklessness with the ball. The Titans failed to supply Ward with a solid support system. Their only above-average receiver is Calvin Ridley, who would have been better suited as a wide receiver too. Tyler Lockett has shown steady decline in the past 2 years, and Van Jefferson is just an okay receiver. The big investment on the offensive line was Dan Moore, who they severely overpaid for. But this move allows J.C. Latham to move back to right tackle, where he played at Alabama. The O-line is better than it was last year, but their only protector that played at a high level last season was Kevin Zeitler. Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears are an okay running back tandem, but not good enough. With Harold Landry gone, the Titans don't have a premier pass rusher, so all the pressure will have to come from Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat on the inside. The secondary is one of the worst in football. L'Jarius Sneed only played 5 games, but he played like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL when he was on the field. They did sign Amani Hooker, who should help a little bit, but it will not be enough. Then there's the linebackers. Cody Barton is a solid run defender, but there is very little experience in this unit. My record prediction, 4-13. Number 3, the Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones may have won the starting job, but the Colts are still hopeful that Richardson can be their guy moving forward. For now, Jonathan Taylor will be the focal point of the offense after a great season. The depth at wide receiver is sneaky good, with Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, and Alec Pierce all having good years despite weak quarterback play. Not to mention a potential breakout from A.D. Mitchell, and Tyler Warren will be a valuable weapon right away, who can also line up in the backfield and in the slot. The offensive line lost Ryan Kelly and Will Fries, but should still be good. They still have Bernard Raymond and Quentin Nelson on the left side, and Braden Smith will return at right tackle. The Colts defense finally invested in their secondary by adding Charvarius Ward and Cameron Bynum. Kenny Moore is one of the better slot corners in the NFL. Jalen Jones was pretty good last year, and safety Nick Cross was good in his first year as a full-time starter, but the front seven will be problematic for this team, as they had the most missed tackles last season. The Colts have talent on the interior defensive line with DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, but they are getting older. They will need to see an improvement from edge rushers Kwity Paye and Leatu Latu. Zaire Franklin remains a tackling machine, but he can't do it alone in the middle of the field. My record prediction, 5-12. Number 2, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are coming into this season with a brand new head coach in Liam Cohen, who I believe will turn things around, and 2 new coordinators. Cohen worked with Baker Mayfield last year, and I believe he will do wonders with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor finally has a true number 1 receiver after Brian Thomas Jr. had an excellent rookie year, and this year, I believe he will be a top 5 receiver. Not to mention Travis Hunter will be playing full-time on offense, and they signed De'Ami Brown. The offensive line could be one of the most improved units in the NFL. Walker Little played well at left tackle after Cam Robinson was traded. They signed Robert Hainsley and Patrick McCarry, and right tackle Anton Harrison showed slight improvement, but he still needs to be better. Travis Etienne did not have a good 2024, but Tank Bigsby could be in for a big year as Cohen likes to run the ball. And keep an eye out for rookie speedster Bashal Tutin. Then there's the defensive line. Josh Hines-Allen remains one of the better edge rushers, but Trayvon Walker has not been the guy the Jags drafted him to be at this stage in his career. Eric Armstead will return to his natural position at defensive tackle, but the depth in this unit is just awful. The linebackers were the most stable part of this defense, with Devin Lloyd emerging as a legitimate playmaker, and Foyer Oluokun continuing to be a tackling machine. The Jags don't plan on using Hunter in the secondary too much this year, which is too bad, because I believe he is significantly better as a corner than a receiver. They did add slot corner Jordan Lewis, who was one of the few bright spots on the Cowboys, as well as Eric Murray. Tyson Campbell had a down year, but he should be back to normal. I believe the Jaguars will be one of the NFL's most improved teams, with a record prediction of 8-9. And winning the AFC South, the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud came off a sophomore slump, and the Texans fired offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick in favor of Nick Caley, but there is one big problem. The offensive line is pure garbage. Laramie Tunsil and Shaq Mason prevented this unit from being terrible last year, and they are both gone. Second-round rookie Ariante Ursary is projected to be the starting left tackle, except he is a developmental player and not someone who can impact a team right away. Center Jake Andrews is coming off a torn meniscus and has never started an NFL game, and while Laken Tomlinson is the best player on this line, he still isn't great. Nico Collins is back healthy, but Tank Dell will most likely miss the season, so the Texans will need to rely more on slot receiver Christian Kirk and rookies Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. Joe Mixon is expected to miss time, and even though they signed Nick Chubb, he may never be the same player after the extensive injury history. The only reason I have the Texans winning the division is because their defense will be elite. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. were a dominant pass rush duo, and I'm expecting Anderson to take another step forward. The interior isn't that good, but it doesn't have to be. Azeez Al-Shahir is a solid run stopper, and the secondary will be excellent. Derek Stingley is the best cornerback in football not named Patrick Surtain. Kamari Lassiter had an impressive rookie season. Jalen Petrie is really good in the slot. The addition of C.J. Gardner-Johnson bolsters the safeties, and while Kalen Bullock struggled in coverage, this is still one of the better safety units in the NFL. My record prediction, 9-8. The AFC West. In last place, the Las Vegas Raiders. Hiring Pete Carroll and trading for Geno Smith raised the floor of this team, but they still end up in last place due to the strength of this division. Geno played behind one of the worst offensive lines in football last year, but will play behind a decent one this year. Colton Miller is one of the better starting tackles in the NFL. Dylan Parham broke out at left guard, and right guard Jackson Powers-Johnson and right tackle DJ Glaze showed promise as rookies. In addition to horrible quarterback play last season, the Raiders also had the worst rushing attack, which has improved after signing Raheem Mostert and drafting Ashton Genty, who I believe is the best running back prospect since Saquon Barkley, and could be a top 5 running back right out of the gate, especially knowing Carroll likes to run the ball. Brock Bowers had an elite season despite having bad QB play, and might be the best tight end in football as early as this season. The wide receiver room has potential, with Jacoby Myers coming out of the slot, and young wideouts Trey Tucker, second-round rookie Jack Besh, and fourth-round rookie Dante Fortin, who is an athletic freak and could be a steal. And the defense is basically Max Crosby and friends. Malcolm Kuntz will be healthy, but the two of them will not be able to make up for the bad linebacker unit and what may be the worst secondary in football. Jermaine Pratt and Alandon Roberts are good in run defense but poor in coverage, and Devin White is just painfully average. And the secondary, which was already trash last year, lost Nate Hobbs and Trayvon Merrig. And their replacements, Eric Stokes and Jeremy Chin, are both downgrades. The only hope in this secondary is with rookie cornerback Darian Porter. My record prediction, 6-11. Number 3, the Los Angeles Chargers. Jim Harbaugh transformed this team from an underachiever to a playoff contender, improving the offensive line and enforcing a strong rushing attack. Say what you want about Justin Herbert and him being Mr. Hypothetical, but he really is that guy. Najee Harris may not be the most efficient rusher, but he does bring power, and Omarion Hampton could be a free down back right away. Both Harris and Hampton allow Harbaugh to continue playing smash-mouth football, but there are problems with this offense. Losing a player like Rashawn Slater is never a good thing, but this allows Joe Alt to play at left tackle like he did at Notre Dame. Filling in at right tackle is Trey Pipkins, who primarily plays guard and is a below-average pass blocker. Then there's the Chargers' glaring weakness, the wide receiver room. Ladd McConkey played really well in the slot, but they brought back Keenan Allen, who sharply declined. I'm expecting second-round rookie Trey Harris to get a lot of receptions this season. Defensive coordinator Jesse Minter was a miracle worker last season. After the Chargers consistently had bad defenses, they could definitely use some help on the inside. Cough, cough, Christian Wilkins. Khalil Mack is still a solid edge rusher at the age of 34, and with Joey Bosa gone, Tuli Tuipulotu can finally break out. Linebacker Dan Henley looks like a future star, and Denzel Perriman is a serviceable veteran. In the secondary, Derwin James returned to an elite level of play. Tarheeb still looks like a star out of the slot, but outside corners Cam Hart and Dante Jackson both struggled in coverage. My record prediction, 9-8. Number 2, the Denver Broncos. There is one thing worth noting about the Broncos last season. They only won 2 games against teams with positive records, against the Buccaneers and the Chiefs when they rested their starters, but they did add some pieces on both sides of the ball. Bo Nix had a good rookie year, but playing behind an elite offensive line made his job easier. Evan Ingram is the exact player Sean Payton wants on his team. Cortland Sutton had a good season, but expect some more targets for Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin this year. And like I said about the O-line, it may be the best in football. Quinn Miners emerged as one of the NFL's best guards. Garrett Bowles is one of the better tackles, especially at pass protection. And Luke Wattenberg was one of the best pass-blocking centers last season. And they drafted R.J. Harvey and signed J.K. Dobbins to boost the run game. The Broncos' defense was a top 5 unit in the NFL, and may have gotten even better. John Franklin Myers and Zach Allen were both able to generate a lot of pressure from the inside, and Nick Benito had a remarkable breakout season off the edge. Linebackers Dre Greenlaw and Alex Singleton are both coming off serious injuries, but they could be a great duo depending on how they return. Also coming off a serious injury is safety Talanoa Hufanga, who came with Greenlaw from the Niners, but this secondary will be elite no matter what. Safety Brandon Jones was elite in coverage. Patrick Surtain was by far the best corner in football last year, and they managed to snag rookie slot corner Jahdae Barron. The only real concern with this defense is with Riley Moss at CB2. Shout out to defensive coordinator Vance Joseph for turning his career around after the Broncos' defense was horrible in 2023. My record prediction, 10-7. And winning the AFC West is none other than the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs did not have the dominant offense we know last season, but they were unbeatable in close games. Patrick Mahomes has not thrown more than 30 touchdown passes in a season since 2022, but he is still the best quarterback in football. Even though it happened in garbage time, wide receiver Xavier Worthy had a great Super Bowl performance and could be Mahomes' #1 target this season, with Travis Kelce declining. Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice both missed most of last season, and Rice will miss more time this season with a suspension. And the Chiefs will once again have a below-average running back room with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. But fullback Carson Steele will continue to be good in short yardage situations. The offensive line wasn't great last year, especially in the playoffs. I believe Josh Simmons will have a great rookie year and be the best tackle in his class, but losing Joe Thuney will definitely hurt. Kingsley Sua-Mateo was awful at left tackle, but may have found a home at left guard. As long as Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith are there, this unit can be somewhat functional. The Chiefs' defense will be fine, as Steve Spagnuolo always gets the job done. They added some depth to the defensive line with veteran Charles Omenihu and rookies Amar Norman-Lott and Ashton Gillott. Chris Jones is still playing at an elite level, and the Chiefs are still hoping George Karlaftis can be that premier pass rusher. Nick Bolton had a down year, but is still one of the NFL's best linebackers. Leo Chenal broke out as an elite run stuffer, and Drew Tranquil remains a consistent performer. The secondary doesn't have a lot of big names, but is a cohesive unit. Trent McDuffie is the best slot corner in football. Cornerback Jalen Watson had a good year, and safety Jaden Hicks is one of the Chiefs' better young players and will have a bigger role. There is a lot to be desired about the Chiefs, but you can't count them out as long as Mahomes and Andy Reid are there. My record prediction, 11-6. Moving on to the NFC, starting with the East. In last place, the Dallas Cowboys. This will be a rebuild year for the Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer was the worst head coaching hire of the offseason, and Dak Prescott is coming off a torn hamstring. Even when Dak was on the field last season, he did not play well, so expect another regression. The rushing attack of Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and Jaden Blue might be the worst in football. CeeDee Lamb is still one of the best receivers in the NFL, and they finally have a wide receiver too in George Pickens. But they still need to see more out of tight ends Jake Ferguson and Luke Schoonmaker, and either Jalen Tolbert, Cavante Turpin, or Jonathan Mingo to step up as wide receiver free. The Cowboys' O-line took a big hit with Zach Martin retiring, leaving rookie Tyler Booker with big shoes to fill. Tyler Guyton had a bad rookie year, and center Cooper Beebe needs to improve. Micah Parsons has very little help in the pass rush, aside from defensive tackle Osa Odigizua and rotational edge rushers Dante Fowler and rookie Donovan Ezeraku. Demarion Overshone will miss most of the year, and Marshawn Nealon was not great. The Cowboys' front seven was among the worst at run defense. Maisie Smith may be the worst run-stopping defensive tackle, and Kenneth Murray is one of the worst run-stopping linebackers. Jack Sanborn will reunite with DC Matt Eberflus and is the best run stopper on the team, but lacks in coverage. The secondary lost Jordan Lewis to the Jaguars and will miss Trayvon Diggs for most of the season. Neither Diggs or Deron Bland are teams you want covering a team's best wideout. The safeties are okay, but Israel Makuamu is not good out of the slot. My record prediction, 5-12. Number 3, the New York Giants. The Giants' offense was unwatchable last season, between their horrible quarterback play, lack of a run game, and no reliable pass catchers outside of Malik Neighbors. This offense still isn't good, but it will definitely be better. Russell Wilson's best days are behind him, but he can still get the job done, and rookie Jackson Dart had an impressive preseason. If the Giants can get the best out of their QBs, they could sneak into the playoffs. Neighbors had a great year, but with better QB play, we could see improvements from Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, and tight end Theo Johnson. The offensive line desperately needs Andrew Thomas to stay healthy, because he is single-handedly keeping this unit from being the worst in the NFL. Tyrone Tracy had flashes as a runner, but is more of a receiving back, and rookie Cam Skattebo is a bruiser, but not someone that can make explosive plays at the NFL level. The Giants may have the best pass rush in football. Dexter Lawrence gets double-teamed more than anyone, and still got 9 sacks as a nose tackle, which is insane. Dexter is not only the best defensive tackle in the NFL, he is the best defender. On top of that, he has an edge rush duo of Brian Burns and Abdul Carter lined up behind him. The Giants may get 30-plus sacks from Dexter, Burns, and Carter alone. Linebacker Bobby Okereke is a great tackler, and Micah McFadden struggles in coverage but is a decent run defender. Then there's the secondary, which I think will improve tremendously. Slot corner Drew Phillips and safety Tyler Nubin were the best defensive backs on this team as rookies, and the Giants signed Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland. The Giants' schedule is absolutely brutal, but I believe this team can pull off some upsets. My record prediction, 7-10. Number 2, the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels may have had the best rookie quarterback season of all time, and the Commanders were the most improved team in the NFL last season. But there is a lot about this team that screams regression. Cliff Kingsbury ran a college-style offense for Daniels, which got figured out after a year when he was in Arizona. The Commanders were also aggressive on 4th down, and 8 out of their 12 wins were by 1 score, most notably against the Bears, but also against the Saints and both their games against the Giants. And finally, Dan Quinn has underachieved with the Falcons with better teams than what the Commanders have now. That being said, Laramie Tunsil is a huge addition to the offensive line, but right guard Sam Cosmi will miss most of the year. Deebo Samuel adds another pass catcher, but I don't think he will be the same player outside of Shanahan's system. The Commanders are fortunate to re-sign Terry McLaurin, but trading Brian Robinson to the Niners puts a lot of weight on the shoulders of rookie running back Bill Krosky-Merritt. The Commanders' defense overachieved last season, and their defensive line lost Jonathan Allen and Dante Fowler, replacing them with Javon Kinlaw and Von Miller. Right now, their best pass rusher is Dorrance Armstrong, who won't generate enough pass rush. The linebackers are by far the best unit on this defense, led by Frankie Louvu and a 35-year-old Bobby Wagner. Cornerback Mike Sainristil will be able to settle back into the slot, where he plays best, but the Commanders had one of the worst secondaries in the NFL last year. Safety Will Harris is a solid addition, but Marshawn Lattimore is coming off a down year. The Commanders are one of the most hyped-up teams, but aside from Daniels and the rest of the rookies and sophomores on this team, the Commanders are the oldest team in the NFL, and regression is inevitable. My record prediction? 9-8. And winning the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles' new offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo will take over after being the pass-game coordinator for the past 4 years. Saquon Barkley came off the best season of his career and joined the exclusive 2,000-yard club. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert provide the best pass-catching trio in football, and the Eagles have the best offensive line in football, with Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson at tackles, Cam Jurgens filling in smoothly after Jason Kelsey's retirement. Landon Dickinson will miss a few weeks, but is still one of the best guards in the NFL. The only concern was with Tyler Steen at right guard, but it will not matter. I do not believe Jalen Hurts is this elite quarterback that he's hyped up to be, but he does get the job done. The Eagles had the best defense in football last season, and I don't think that will change. Milton Williams is gone, but they already found his replacement with Moro Ajomo. Jalen Carter is one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. Zach Bond is one of the best linebackers. Nolan Smith is a young, solid edge rusher. Nakobe Dean will miss time, but they managed to snag Jahad Campbell late in the first round. All this firepower in the front seven will open up space for second-year edge rusher Jalix Hunt. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean had great rookie seasons in their own right, but now the Eagles are promoting more young defensive backs like cornerback Kelly Ringo and safety Sidney Brown. This defense is very young, but knowing Vic Fangio, they will all become Pro Bowl or All-Pro caliber players. I truly believe this defense will be even better than it was last season and might even be one of the best of all time. My record prediction? And yes, you're hearing this correctly, 17-0. The NFC North. In last place, the Detroit Lions. I believe the Lions will be the team that regresses the most this season. They lost Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn as their coordinators, but what will shoot this team in the foot the most is Frank Ragnow retiring. I don't think the Lions will be a bad team this year. They are a very good team, but their divisional opponents have all gotten better, while the Lions have gotten worse. Jared Goff's career resurgence in Detroit can be largely attributed to Ben Johnson's play calling, but they will still have a great run game with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and a solid receiving room. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the best slot receiver in the NFL. Jameson Williams is a good deep threat. Sam Laporta is one of the best tight ends, and rookie Isaac Tesla was a preseason hero, and with the size, speed, and hands to be a really good receiver in the NFL. The offensive line will be good, but not great. Penei Sewell is the best tackle in football, and Taylor Decker is good on the left side, but the interior will look different without Ragnow or Kevin Zeitler. The starting guards are projected to be second-year Christian Mahogany on the left, and rookie Tate Ratledge on the right. The defensive line will not have Aleem McNeil to start the year, but will have a healthy Aiden Hutchinson who is on his way to winning Defensive Player of the Year. Jack Campbell emerged as one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and Alex Anzalone is solid in coverage, but the linebacker tandem will not have Malcolm Rodriguez to start the season. Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph are two of the best safeties in football, and the secondary now has DJ Reed covering the opposing team's best receiver, and Amik Robertson returning in the slot. With hope that Terrion Arnold improves in year 2, I do believe the Lions' defense will be better than the offense this year. My record prediction? 9-8. Number 3. The Green Bay Packers. The Packers have the youngest team in the NFL, with no ceiling. Jordan Love was inconsistent in his second year as a starter, but his receivers dropped over 30 passes. Josh Jacobs was the engine of the offense in his first season in Green Bay. The Packers' receiving room added some depth, drafting Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave are a solid tight end duo, and Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs should continue to improve in years 3 and 4 respectively. They will miss Christian Watson for most of the season, though. Elgton Jenkins will move to center full-time, with Aaron Banks joining the interior. Zach Tom is one of the best right tackles in football, and Rasheed Walker continues to improve at left tackle. Jeff Hafley had an impressive first season as the Packers' defensive coordinator, despite the lack of pass rush. Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark have both declined, and linebacker Quay Walker has struggled since entering the NFL, while the Packers have found a rising star with Edgerrin Cooper, and the secondary will be just fine without Jair Alexander. Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, and Nate Hobbs are all capable corners. Xavier McKinney is one of the NFL's top safeties, and safety Evan Williams had a solid rookie year. Like I said, the potential of this young Packers team is ridiculous. My record prediction, 10-7. Number 2, the Chicago Bears. I am drinking the Kool-Aid on the Bears this year. Ben Johnson is one of the best offensive minds in football and will completely turn this team around. Caleb Williams' rookie year was not as bad as people say, but he got sacked over 70 times last season, nearly the most all time in a single season. But now the offensive line will be good, completely retooling the interior with Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, and Jonah Jackson, a healthy Braxton Jones at left tackle, and improvements from Darnell Wright. DJ Moore has had a good 2 years in Chicago despite everything. Rome Odunze will have more targets in year 2, and Cole Kmet may have the best season of his career since Johnson likes to use his tight ends, and expect the Bears to run 12 personnel more than any other team after drafting Colston Loveland. The only weakness of this Bears offense is the run game. DeAndre Swift reunites with Johnson, but he is not a capable RB1. The Bears offense will be one of the most improved units in the NFL. The defense, not so much. The defensive line added Grady Jarrett, who is getting older, and Deo Odengbo, who is a career backup. Even Montez Sweat didn't play at his best last season, leaving third-year tackle Gervon Dexter to come up with the most pressure. Linebackers Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards are both coming off down years, but the secondary is solid. Jalen Johnson has been one of the NFL's best cornerbacks in the past 2 years. Kevin Byard is still playing at a high level. Jaquan Brisker will be back healthy, and Kyler Gordon excels in the slot. I think the Bears will be the most improved team in the NFL. My record prediction, 11-6. And winning the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings. I do believe the Vikings will be the best team in the North, but not because of J.J. McCarthy. I was not impressed seeing McCarthy play for Michigan, and the torn meniscus certainly doesn't help. But the Vikings as a team are almost immaculate, and will be successful no matter who their quarterback is. The offensive line was already good. Now they'll have a healthy Christian Darrisaw. Brian O'Neill is reliable on the right side. And the interior now has Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, and rookie Donovan Jackson. Justin Jefferson will have a great season no matter who throws him the ball. TJ Hawkinson is one of the top tight ends. Aaron Jones continues to age well as a catcher and a runner. But Jordan Addison will be suspended to start the year. The Vikings' defense was already elite last season, and it may have gotten better. Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel are both coming off double-digit sack seasons, and now Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave add a boost to the interior. Blake Cashman has emerged as a legitimate starting linebacker, and if Ivan Pace can even become average in coverage, he can become one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Harrison Smith still plays quality football at 36 years old, and safety Josh Metellus is reliable against the run. Byron Murphy is coming off the best season of his career, and cornerback Isaiah Rodgers may be the most underrated signing of the offseason. The Vikings defense doesn't have all the Jimmies and Joes, but Brian Flores is arguably the best defensive mind in football, and he will make this work. My record prediction, 14-3. The NFC South. In last place, the New Orleans Saints. With Derek Carr retired, Spencer Rattler is now the starting quarterback. He may be the worst starting QB in football this year, and this team is a mess from top to bottom. Alvin Kamara has not been an efficient rusher for the past few seasons, and is now 30 years old. Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed both have injury concerns, and Brandon Cooks is completely washed. One thing I will give to the Saints is that they invested in their offensive line, drafting Kelvin Banks this year, and Talise Fuaga last year. Eric McCoy is one of the best centers in the NFL when healthy, and while Trevor Penning has struggled at tackle, he could be playing better at guard. Cameron Jordan and Demario Davis are in the twilights of their career, leaving edge rusher Carl Granderson and linebacker Pete Warner as the only reliable players in the front seven, the Saints hired Brandon Staley as their defensive coordinator, who is well known for having horrible run defenses and has had an unimpressive career aside from being with the Rams in 2020. Justin Reed was added in the secondary, but Tyrann Mathieu is another player whose best years are behind him. Then there's Isaac Yiadom, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Alontae Taylor, possibly the weakest cornerback trio in football. Kellen Moore takes over as the head coach, who was the OC of the Eagles last year, but ask any Chargers or Cowboys fan, and they will tell you that he was not a good coordinator when he doesn't have a stacked team. I believe the Saints will be the worst team in the NFL this season, with a record prediction of 2-15. Number 3, the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young showed significant growth in year 2. He's far from perfect, but has shown flashes of being a good quarterback in the NFL. The Panthers have a deep running back room with Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, Trevor Etienne, and when he comes back, Jonathan Brooks, behind a solid offensive line. Guards Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt both stood out, and Taylor Morton is reliable at right tackle. But Ikem Ekwonu remains iffy at left tackle. This could be a fun group of pass catchers, with Jalen Coker in the slot, Tetairoa McMillan and Xavier Legette on the outside, and Tommy Tremble and Jatavion Sanders at tight end. McMillan has a lot of similarities to Mike Evans, who head coach Dave Canales has worked with in Tampa Bay. The Panthers' defense is expected to be one of the worst in football once again. Derek Brown will be back healthy. Bobby Brown and Tershawn Wharton add help to the interior, and the Panthers drafted edge rushers Nick Scourton and Princely Umanmielen. But the linebackers and secondary are both thin. Christian Roseboom adds experience to the linebacker tandem, but Trevin Wallace needs to improve as a run defender. Safety Trayvon Merrick was a big addition to the secondary. J.C. Horn is a talented quarterback, but has durability issues. Ejiro Evero is a good defensive coordinator, but just doesn't have the pieces to put it all together, and this season won't be an exception, but the offense does have a lot of potential. My record prediction, 6-11. Number 2, the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons' offense was much more dynamic once Michael Penix took over as the starting quarterback. There will still be growing pains, but Penix has shown flashes as a solid starter in the NFL. He won't have to do it alone either. Bijan Robinson has grown into one of the best running backs in football, with Tyler Algier as a great RB2, and an electric receiving duo of Drake London and Darnell Mooney. The Falcons' offensive line is set on the left side, with Jake Matthews returning as a strong pass blocker, and left guard Matthew Bergeron showing promise in year 2. But the Falcons lost Drew Dahlman to the Bears, and will not have right tackle Caleb McGarry for the season. The Falcons finally addressed their pass rush after consistently ranking near the bottom in sacks and pressures, signing Leonard Floyd and drafting Jalen Walker and James Pierce. Walker could help the team right away, but Pierce is undersized and his pass rush moves are weak. The Falcons will also bring back Braylon Trice, who tore his ACL last preseason. Right now, the only standouts on the Falcons' pass rush are Arnold Ebiketie and blitzing linebacker Caden Ellis. Losing Grady Jarrett is a blow for the defensive tackles, with David Onyemata getting older, and inexperience from Ruke Orhorhoro and Brandon Dorlus. The linebacker unit is below average, with Ellis being significantly better in pass rush than coverage, and Divine Diablo being the most experienced traditional linebacker. And while the Falcons have Jesse Bates and A.J. Terrell as cornerstones in the secondary, the backfield is thin behind them, with rookie safety Xavier Watts projected to start and Billy Bowman Jr. starting in the slot. Head coach Raheem Morris is definitely on the hot seat this year and will probably lose his job if the Falcons don't win the division. My record prediction, 7-10. And winning the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are on their third offensive coordinator in 3 years, with former pass game coordinator Josh Grizzard receiving the promotion. Baker Mayfield has played at a high level in both of his seasons with the Bucs, but had a lot of turnovers last season. Every starter on last year's offense is returning, but Tristan Wirfs, Chris Godwin, and Jalen McMillan will all miss some time. Mike Evans returns for a 12th season, but he is up there in age and won't be good forever. Rookie Emeka Egbuka adds an extra target in the slot, and Cade Otton remains reliable at tight end. The Bucs are set on the right side of their O-line, with Luke Godicki and Cody Mauch making improvements, hoping that their center Graham Barton does the same this season, but losing a player like Wirfs is never good. The improved offensive line and Bucky Irving's explosiveness transformed the Bucs' rushing attack. The pass rush should be better this season, after Yaya Diaby's breakout, and the addition of Hassan Reddick. Vita Vea is one of the NFL's most dominant nose tackles, and Logan Hall is showing signs of improvement on the inside. But Kalijah Cansey is one of the worst run-defending tackles in the NFL. Levante David is still a productive linebacker, but is entering his twilight years. And third-year linebacker Savosia Dennis is solid in coverage. The safety duo of Antoine Winfield and Tyke Smith is really good. Corners Jamel Dean and Zion McCollum are both good, but have injury concerns, meaning we could see some action from rookie Benjamin Morrison. And Jacob Parrish is set to start in the slot. There's a lot to be desired about the Bucs, but they have the benefit of playing in the worst division in football. My record prediction, 9-8. The NFC West. In last place, the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are coming into this year with a brand new offense, with Sam Darnold replacing Geno Smith, losing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and Clint Kubiak taking over as offensive coordinator. Jackson Smith-Njigba is coming off a great season, but will now play on the outside instead of in the slot, where he barely even played at Ohio State. They signed Cooper Kupp to play in the slot, but he hasn't had a healthy season since 2021, and the depth at outside receiver consists of rookie Torrey Horton, who also has a long injury history, and Jake Bobo. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet are a great 1-2 punch in the backfield, but this offensive line is atrocious outside of Charles Cross. They drafted Gray Zabel to play at left guard, but he was playing at the FCS level last year, and it is unlikely that he will translate against NFL defenders right away. Sam Darnold had a good year with the Vikings, but he had good everything around him, and Darnold's last game with the Vikings saw him get sacked 9 times. Mike McDonald made the Seahawks defense one of the better units in the NFL. Leonard Williams is coming off a career year, Byron Murphy looked like a game wrecker as a rookie, and Jaron Reed also played at a high level. What really made the Seahawks defense take off last season was the addition of linebacker Ernest Jones, who I will never forgive the Rams for letting go. DeMarcus Lawrence was also added to be their primary edge rusher, but he only played 4 games last season. Devon Witherspoon has been one of the better slot corners in the NFL since he was drafted. Tariq Woolen is one of the better ball-hawking corners. Julian Love has grown into one of the best safeties in football. Kobe Bryant was able to find a home at free safety after playing corner for 2 seasons, and the Seahawks drafted combine superstar Nicky Manwari, adding depth to the secondary. I like this defense, but the Seahawks did very little on offense to help Sam Darnold. My record prediction, 6-11. Number 3, the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are running it back with the same offense as last season. Kyler Murray is now at full strength after a major knee surgery, so we should see more of his dual threat abilities. James Conner remains a consistent running back, and we should see more touches from Trey Benson. Trey McBride emerged as one of the best tight ends in football. Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't have a lot of receptions last season, but he still led the team in touchdowns and should have a great season. And Michael Wilson is an underrated wide receiver too. On the O-line, Paris Johnson made a big leap after moving to left tackle. Jonah Williams missed a lot of time, but is still a good tackle. The guards are concerning, but Hjalte Froholt is a solid run-blocking center. The defensive line might be the most improved unit in the NFL. Josh Sweat reunites with Jonathan Gannon, with Baron Browning now lined up across, and Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson were added on the inside. Rookie Walter Nolan will start this season on the PUP, but in the meantime, we could see development from second-year tackle Darius Robinson. There's definitely some concerns at middle linebacker, but cornerback Garrett Williams was quietly one of the best players in coverage last season. Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson are a solid foundation at safety, and rookie cornerback Will Johnson looked excellent at training camp. I believe he will be a lockdown corner right away. This team has a lot of potential and will be fun to watch. My record prediction, 9-8. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners had a lot of injuries last season and lost key pieces on both sides of the ball, but they were rewarded by the football gods with an easy schedule, and the coaching will help this team immensely. Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and Trent Williams all missed significant time. McCaffrey can still be a great running back, and newly acquired Brian Robinson adds power and a reliable RB2 to the run game. Ayuk will miss the start of the season, but George Kittle is still one of the best tight ends in football. Jawan Jennings was their most productive receiver, and Ricky Pearsall showed promising flashes. Williams is now 37 years old, and there's no guarantee that he will be the same player he was pre-injury. The emergence of Dominic Pooney saves this offensive line from being bad. Brock Purdy is definitely not a franchise quarterback, but he should do better with healthier weapons. Robert Saleh returns as the defensive coordinator, which is much needed with everyone they lost, including Dre Greenlaw, Charvarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, and Javon Hargrave. Nick Bosa and Fred Warner are two of the best players at their respective position, but the depth behind them includes a lot of young players, including rookie edge rusher Mykel Williams, tackles Alfred Collins and CJ West, linebacker Nick Martin, and cornerback Upton Stout projected to start in the slot. Edge rusher Bryce Huff will reunite with Saleh. Diamador Lenore is a solid cornerback, and second-year corner Renardo Green looked really good in his limited snaps. The depth at safety is definitely concerning, but because of the easy schedule, I'm giving them a record prediction of 10-7. And winning the NFC West, my Los Angeles Rams. Cooper Kupp is out, and Devontae Adams is in. This offense could be the best in football this year. Puka Nacua missed time last season, but when he was on the field, he was one of the best receivers in the NFL. Tyler Higbee remains a reliable tight end at 32 years old, and we could see more 12 personnel from the Rams after drafting Terrence Ferguson. They also have speedster Tutu Atwell and second-year receiver Jordan Whittington. There are concerns about Matthew Stafford's back, but at 37 years old, he can still sling the ball. And Kyren Williams has been one of the most reliable running backs in the NFL in the past 2 years. Alaric Jackson is one of the better left tackles in the NFL. Kevin Dotson and Rob Havenstein are strong run blockers on the right side, and the Rams are reunited with center Coleman Shelton. Even with Havenstein getting older, this should be one of the better offensive lines in football. The Rams' front seven was one of the biggest surprises last season. Jared Verse led the entire NFL in pressures as a rookie, Braden Fisk emerged as a solid free tech, and Kobe Turner had a good second year. And now Poona Ford, one of the best run defenders in the NFL, is at nose tackle. The Rams' defensive line got even better. The linebackers and secondary have a lot to be desired. Omar Speights and Nate Landman are good run defenders, but they don't fill the void left by Ernest Jones. And a cornerback duo of Darius Williams and Akello Witherspoon is asking for trouble. Cameron Curl is a good safety, but is a lot better when blitzing than he is in coverage. Cameron Kitchens had a good rookie season, and I believe he will have a breakout season. Defensive coordinator Chris Shula has done wonders with this defense, and the pass rush will be able to cancel out the weak linebackers and secondary. My record prediction, 12-5. And that does it for today's video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.